ものももで、はい、10個。はい、ありがとうございます。
You come here a lot. She knows what you want already.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Do you know he's a famous conductor?
Yes。有名な方だって分かったので、あそこにサインをしていただきました。あそこに。
Are they all famous?
アスリートであったりミュージシャン。お待たせいたしました。ありがとうございます。
I'm Rozz, a self-confessed travel junkie, and I'm back on another adventure to seek out Singaporeans abroad who are achieving extraordinary feats.
I want to be able to offer a sense of unity to musicians.
This is one that really feels like my calling.
So they were quite shocked that we have baseball in Singapore. If I get to a higher level, more people will start noticing.
This time, I'm joining Singaporean conductor Wong Kah Chun as he prepares for his season opening concert in Japan. I'm at Kah Chun's home atelier in Hiratsuka City, a seaside town 50 kilometers from Tokyo.
Oh wow, look at this medallion.
This I was very lucky to have been nominated for and received. It's the Bundesverdienstkreuz, the cross from Germany.
Oh, I see some familiar faces here.
When I received this honor, and of course I had one of the greatest audiences.
Here, he spends hours studying classical music scores from around the world.
This is my music shelf. What do I have?
I love how you thumb through your books. Like they're little precious gems.
This is Elgar's cello concerto, Edward Elgar, an English composer, and his music is very noble. When you think of the days of Stanford Raffles, he's a little bit later than that, but it's that kind of nobility, English countryside.
What about this Russian communist era piece?
Well, I mean, this is really intense.
This is your favorite word? Forte.
I mean,
Intense
forte is actually a very bad word to say to the orchestra.
No way.
Because
Are you serious?
You don't want to encourage. It's very easy to play loud. Forte means loud. This is a German, nach Luft, schnappen, which means to snap. Wim, yum, yum. You have to snap at it. Sinister tasto, this is Italian, sul tasto. It means on the fingerboard you get a more transparent sound. Shinjirarenai, you can't believe it. It's so bad that you can't believe it.
But whenever I see someone conducting an orchestra, I've always wondered like the role of this person. Is it to keep the beat? But then I was like, hey, but they're percussionists, right, in the orchestra. Or is it to kind of tell the musicians how to play? But then they're all like professional musicians on stage who would have learned their pieces. So what does a conductor actually do?
The conductor has not a single sound, doesn't contribute orally to the performance, but the good conductor offer a sense of unity to musicians, offer an idea, but also to take ideas from musicians and to put them into a larger sum.
So if I was the audience and I heard this piece played over like in different concert halls by different conductors, will I hear a different, say, remix of this piece?
Yep, exactly. I think that's a good word to describe this.
I noticed that you have different depictions of the same scene.
So this is the Great Wave of Kanagawa by Hokusai. This is one of the reasons why I'm staying in this area. You can only see this scene if you are within the ocean.
Do you surf?
A little bit. I've been learning because we're so close by the ocean.
Do you draw any parallels between the two?
Well, no two waves are the same and no two concerts are the same.
Oh, that's curious.
Then I can show something.
Yes.
These are Mahler 5 scores. Both of them are identical, exactly the same. So every time I learn a new piece or I go back to a piece that I haven't done for a while, I would restart the whole process.
Oh, your notes are different
They are
for
all
the same
different.
song.
Exactly, and I mean this is one area where here the strings would play param, small notes. Here I say on. So they do it on the beat 3, 4, baram. Here it says all small notes before the beat, which means 1, 2, 3, 4, badadam. So the stress is different.
Why is that?
A lot of times when I look back at my scores, I would say two things. Wow, that's such a great idea. Why don't I think of it now? Or I would say that's such a stupid idea. Why would I have thought of it before?
Oh,
So that's a lot of self-criticism.
Gustav Mahler is one of Kah Chun's favorite composers. In 2016, he won the prestigious Mahler competition with his unique interpretation, or what I call remix, of Mahler's music scores, making him the first and only Asian to win.
so I just came from Kah Chun's atelier and it was quite interesting. What really draws me to him is his hyper-focusedness on the things that he loves. Like, he discovered the great wave of Kanagawa during secondary school days, and now he owns a version of that artwork as an adult. And not only that, he chooses to locate his atelier near the sea in the area of Kanagawa.
Kah Chun has spent most of his decade-long career pursuing opportunities abroad. He currently leads 2 orchestras. The Japan Philharmonic Orchestra, one of Tokyo's Big 8. And the Hallé, one of the oldest orchestras in the UK. He spends the rest of his time guest conducting orchestras around the world.
How then do you manage to hold multiple appointments?
So I work for 6 weeks with the Japan Philharmonic. And then the Hallé Orchestra, which is 12 to 14 weeks a year. It's with the Dresden Philharmonic in Germany. It's 3 weeks a year. You can see that I work at most half of the year. More than half of the year is reserved for family time, for preparation time, for study, for everything else that goes apart from conducting.
A lot of your work is in Europe and the UK, but you choose to be based in Japan. Is there a reason why, even besides your family?
The pandemic, of course, made a big difference. Pre-pandemic, I was living in Germany, and once the doors shut down, the only place that I could go back to, and very thankfully, was back to my parents in Jurong in Singapore. And I stayed for 6 months. Obviously, there was no orchestras around. Everyone would have cancelled engagements for the first year or so. And in fact, Japan Philharmonic, we had an engagement in March 2020. I think that was one, if not the first engagement to be cancelled in Japan. So we were meant to play together. It just happened that it was delayed. I started as principal guest conductor with the Japan Philharmonic, which means conducting 2 or 3 weeks a year. And after a while, they said, okay, the relationship seems to be going very well, there's good chemistry, so let's upgrade that relationship to be a chief conductor. And I was very, very happy with that. It's exactly the way of life that I aspire to be. We look at this schedule. A very experienced manager would look at this and say, okay, wow, there are all these spaces, let's fill it up. But for me, it's a simple thing that without this space, I can't perform at 101% here.
I agree.
And therefore, then I risk in the long run losing the commitment to my craft.
Actually, this mindset is very, very applicable to so many things. You know, people are so concerned with the concept of being busy. Like, if you're not constantly busy, you're not great at what you do. You must always be in demand, you know, every second must be filled with busy work. And that's not my style either.
In the coming week, Kah Chun will lead more than 80 musicians from the JPO in a season-opening concert that will set the tone and vision for the season. I'm heading to Tokyo, Asia's classical music hub, which hosts over 1,000 symphony performances each year, including the Japan Philharmonic Orchestra's season-opening concert led by Kah Chun. His pre-concert prep begins at this tailor shop which he has frequented for the past 2 years.
僕も今の服もなんか3号5号です。
What are we trying today?
I use it for rehearsal. So this is an almost exact version of what I have, but it's a little bit modified. So every time I make it, if I get fatter, I need a little bit more space around the chest or the waist. It really comes from convenience. I can use it for concerts, I can use it for rehearsals. That's what I'm really interested in, to make everything as simple as possible. So I just focus on my music. I don't get distracted and say, if I need a new shirt, do I spend 3 hours shopping? I don't have to do that because I would write to Hayashi-san and I'll come here to make a new one.
When does the prep start? Like if, let's say, the concert is on Friday.
10 years. I mean, like this work that we're doing this week, I have studied it when I was 23 years old. That was 15 years ago. That's usually what it is for a lot of the pieces that we do. We have spent so much time with it. We grow with the music. Every time we do it, it's a different edition. それ本当にいい。はい。そうですね。はい。
Like how much time do you get with the actual orchestra before the show?
It depends. Like this week, we have 3 days of rehearsal.
Is that enough for you before a show?
Yeah. I mean, 4 days, 3 days. That's a nice luxury.
And what are some of the challenges leading up to the show day, if any?
Just to make sure I have enough rest and I can focus 100% on music. Distractions have to be gone.
After the tailors, I joined Kah Chun and his orchestra as they rehearse Anton Bruckner's Symphony No. 9 for an upcoming performance celebrating the composer's 200th anniversary. Kah Chun is the first non-Japanese Asian to serve as chief conductor of the JPO. He was offered a 5-year contract after impressing the orchestra during a guest conducting stint back in 2021. What was your first impression of Kah Chun?
When a conductor walks on stage and does the first things and says the first words, most of them, we understand right away what kind of person it is. I knew that was not just like a young person coming on stage. It was very nice in the beginning and very open, but I know that it was like something big underneath. It is very demanding, but there is so much behind it. It's not just like any conductor coming and doing the job.
Yeah. So he does have a very like childlike face, right? But then there's this beast underneath.
That was my understanding.
Yeah.
That he knows what he's doing and he knows where we have to go.
When Kah Chun first joined the JPO, how did he assimilate with you guys?
He's very friendly. When I come to his room, I'm always welcomed and I can ask any questions anytime. So he's open, but he's kind of serious. He doesn't really hang out, but he comes to the stage for the rehearsal and he just starts the work. On the stage, he's just for work, it's just for music, and that gives us the feeling it's time to work. But I think this tension is really nice. I can feel that he really believes JPO can do it. This believing is so strong that we feel like, oh, we have to do it. Like, we have no excuse. And this feeling is very sweet.
It's time for rehearsal, which is the first time the orchestra is coming together for the piece they are performing. It's the first rehearsal for the Japan Philharmonic Orchestra season opener. Kah Chun is joined by guest concertmaster Roberto Ruisi from the Hallé, one of the oldest orchestras in the UK.
Yeah, so at the very end, this ram, bam, 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 bam. We need to give much more pesante.
Kah Chun invited Roberto as they will perform the same piece together during Kah Chun's debut as principal conductor of the Hallé. The concertmaster is the lead violinist and second in command in the orchestra.
May I suggest that we have a break now, and after the break, we would just have the winds, brass, and timpani here.
Have you worked together before?
Yes, so I mean, I was part of the panel that appointed him in Hallé.
Oh, wow.
He turned up about a year and a half ago, and I think the whole orchestra was sort of mesmerized by him. We knew that he was the guy, and we've been searching for ages as well.
Wow. And what was that defining moment when you go like, aha, Kah Chun is the one?
Oh, when we finished the first concert with him, and the audience's response made me know. They just erupted in a way which meant that I knew that he'd captured something inside of them, you know, and that's ultimately really important for us as musicians. It's about the audience, it's about trying to engage them in a time where classical music is so difficult to get that sort of engagement. He kind of managed to bridge that gap, so yeah.
Nice.
Professional orchestras usually only have 3 days of rehearsals before each concert. I'm curious how Kah Chun gets more than 80 musicians in sync to bring his musical vision to life within this time.
So I noticed that everyone has their score, and yours is a book.
This is the script. These little tabs gives me a guide to what I need to think about of the music architecturally. The orange ones are the loud ones. The red ones are very loud.
This one.
And the blue is basically the ultimate climax. And so we need to make sure that we're pacing it out such that this doesn't become a red or this doesn't become a red. And definitely the red doesn't become a blue.
So do you actually whisper, talk to them on stage?
In a concert, we won't be able to say verbally, softer, louder. We have to show it with our body. And so a big part of the craft of conducting is how do we communicate non-visually within the orchestra. There are universal gestures, which conductors at the basic level learn. Music could be in triple time, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. The gesture is to conduct like a triangle, 1, 2, 3.
So the right hand is like the timing, metronome?
That's right.
Yeah.
If it's in 2, it's 1, 2. So let's go with 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So when the orchestra sees, if they are looking at their music and they look suddenly up, and if the conductor is going upwards, this means 4. It gives a certain frame of reference.
So if the right hand is to keep the time, what does the left hand do?
The left hand can do anything. If you want to show a big climax, like at this point, there's one whole climax in the piece.
Yeah.
How do you show that climax? Is it a huge physical gesture that you want to show something that's angry or emotional? Or could it be that the whole orchestra is so loud and the conductor gives something that's so little? And as a contrast, you get this bam, this dynamic that blows the audience away, that defies expectation.
On a typical concert prep week, Kah Chun is exposed to 15 hours of music. Which is why, on his days off, he chooses to listen to this.
So being here in the ocean must inspire you with music.
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look around, there's no one at all. It's all quiet. There's no people, and there are more wildlife around.
Yeah.
That's quite beautiful. I grew up in an environment where space is always difficult, and
I'm still there.
And I mean, I like very much when I'm in Singapore and connecting with all my friends and my family. But to make music, you need that peace of mind, that quietness.
When did you know that you wanted to be a conductor?
I was in the military band. I was playing the trumpet. I wanted to be a professional trumpet player. but then I had a lip injury. When I stopped playing for a while, I had excuse injury, excuse lip, from the medical officer. And so I had to compose music. And then once the music was composed, I had to conduct my own music. And I first studied conducting at the master's level in Berlin 2012. So it's all a series of very nice things that came together.
The JPO kicks off their season today at Suntory Hall, Tokyo's first dedicated concert venue. Known for its world-class acoustics, Suntory Hall is a highly coveted stage, reserved only for the finest musicians. The JPO is one of the select few to perform here regularly, up to 30 times a year.
Hi.
Hello!
Hi.
Wow! What a suite!
Good, how are you?
How are you?
Fine.
Yeah, what are you doing now?
These are for our audience.
What are you going to do before the concert? Not see anyone?
This is the most relaxed time for me because the work has been done. I'm as relaxed as I can be.
Okay. All the best.
We strive for perfection, but we know there's no perfection. So the concert is a celebration. It's like a matsuri. It's a festival and celebration.